You can make me pull my teeth out, cut off my fingers, make me bite off my own tongue, anything. It's funny you should mention that first one. Take two, darling. Ew, oh dear. Espoir hasn't seen this route before. Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Espoir du Vide. Now that I've played a few different routes of Your Boyfriend, it seems that no matter what you do, our boy Pete's won't listen to reason. I've tried being nice, I've tried being sensible, but the truth is, I've exhausted every bit of mercy I have in my soul. So I think it's time we get a little bit more merciless. Since she hasn't popped up for a while, I would like to introduce you to Vide. Not to be confused with depression that I call the void. When it comes to being unnecessarily negative to a video game character, I just can't do it. But she can. How in the world do I summon her? I don't feel like editing some kind of Darkiplier glitchy intro for her.
Greetings.
Ah! Oh, it's been a long time. Let's get this abuse route started. Roses? Seriously? Who do you think I am? Espoir? Gee, thanks. The creepy black ribbon makes me wonder if there's a card attached that reads, "To my future murder-suicide." He would totally do that. I'm not at all thrilled with the gift, and I place it callously on the table in front of him. His face drops, and he reaches to take them back. Oh, I'm sorry. If you don't like them, I can head out and get you something else. What do you like? Daisies? Sunflowers? Lilies? I fold my arms, annoyed with how pathetic he is. I look at the sloppy handwriting he left on the napkin. Scoffing, I toss it to the floor. Meh, I'm not even going to bother with him right now. I have too much to deal with at work tomorrow. Too tired to even get undressed, I roll over and drift to sleep. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction of a reply, crossing my arms as I gave him a glare. The silence was growing uncomfortable. For him anyways, yeah. He shifts a little in his seat. I just thought I might visit you at work to make the day a little easier for you. Yeah, well, now just isn't a good time. I had a crappy morning, and I just can't. I know, but you could at least use a break, right? I'm sure your friend wouldn't mind. Look, I'm too busy right now, okay? Once again, he looked away and shook his head. I'll get going. Sorry. Oh, hey, you forgot your trash. Pick up your trash. I watch as he gets up from the booth and makes his way out of the diner, not even making eye contact or saying a word as he leaves. Heading back into the kitchen area, I noticed that TK was looking at me with an intrigued look on their face. What? What was up with that guy? Your table service that bad? Nah, it was just someone who's been pestering me to go out with him. I'm just a little too flustered to deal with him right now. I noticed a slight shift in their expression that they try to cover up. Don't get excited, TK. I'm an equal opportunity hater. I've kind of known they had a thing for me for a while. They're probably wondering whether or not I'd give in to Peter's advances. After a moment of silence, I tug off my apron and hang it up. What are you doing? I'm gonna take my break. Digging around my pocket and pulling out a $5 bill. Any chance you could dish me up some lunch? Seriously? I serve customers, Vide, not co-workers. Yeah, and I'm paying, therefore I'm a customer. Rolling their eyes, TK takes the money from my hand and tucks it away in their apron pocket. Fair point, but don't expect me to keep serving you during your workday. You said that last time, I say with a smug look on my face. TK chuckles to themselves. Just take a seat. I'll see what I can whip up for you. Just get this paper crane out of here. Nah, it's good to finally get off my feet. These shoes are not working for me. Just then, TK shows up, placing a sandwich, a small bowl of today's soup special, and a drink in front of me before taking a seat. Hey now, I didn't order that much. I complained, though. I'm not really against the extra servings. I know. I figured I'd get you a little something extra anyways. Aw, TK. You poor sweet summer child. I don't like you either. Thanks, I guess. I pushed the soup to the side. I'll just get a to-go bowl for this. You're welcome, I guess. TK's reply is equally as sarcastic as mine. They stand up from their seat. You'll thank me for this later, TK. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and get back to work. If you need anything else, you can get it yourself. Thank you, they say with a teasing smirk, hinting that they're not likely going to be doing me any more favors today. Oh no, what could have possibly happened at my place of business? Whoa, what happened here? I ask myself, noticing a small crowd of people surrounding the area. You all better not be coming into this diner. I don't feel like doing no overtime for you background ponies. Does this mean I'm getting the day off? That'd be swell.
There you are. I've been looking everywhere for you.
Oh God, you had me worried sick. Are you alright? What did they say? If they blame this on you, I swear to God, I'll... Ellipses. I understand. It's not often something big happens at your work, right? It might have been a break-in or something. Now, how would you know that, Peter? He guesses while handing me a coffee, just barely starting to take a sip of his own. Here, I figured you wanted something to drink before work. Yeah, well, looks like that might not be happening. I reply, taking the coffee from him and popping off the lid to check inside. Did you get my usual from Knott's Brew? Only the best you deserve. He purrs, standing close and nuzzling the top of my head. Oh yeah, 'cause he's freakishly tall. That's alright, I don't mind a long doormat. You're pathetic, but thanks. Saying this, I put the lid back on and take a sip before handing it back to him. I'm not in the mood for coffee right now, though. Go ahead and toss it. Peter frowns a little as he takes the cup from me, hesitating to speak at first. But I figured if you're not going to work, we could go on a walk and... I don't hesitate to snatch my cup from his hand, pulling off the lid and splashing the scalding brew against his chest. Oh, Peter, there's so much worse that's going to happen to you. I said no. I snap at him, throwing the empty cup on the ground. Glittering. Peter holds back a yelp as the burning pain sinks through his clothes and onto his skin. His eyes shut tight and teeth clench. He takes a step back from me before kneeling down to pick up my cup. Yes, darling. I'm sorry. He whimpers with an apology. Some a-holes just don't listen. I watch impatiently at the scene before finally rolling my eyes. Well, I'm heading home. I don't think I'm working today anyways. Probably why TK isn't here yet. Come on, you're walking me home. Sure thing, dear. He mumbles, giving a half smile as he follows behind me. Oh, I just want to give him a little collar and a little leash and just yank him. Oh, is Lulu here? Opening the door, I walk in and toss my keys on the kitchen counter, looking over towards the pathetic dog following behind. Don't sit on anything. I don't want you getting coffee stains everywhere. I wouldn't dream of it, he responds, pausing for a moment and glaring over towards the sofa. Ugh, she's here. I'm confused for a moment before looking over the same direction. Oh, what's she doing here? I just told Dawn that, yeah, I got somebody else to replace you with, Lulu. You're getting out. My roommate is lying on the sofa, my soon-to-be former roommate, looking a little hungover as she rolls over and gives us both a glare. She groans, sitting up from the sofa and neatening her hair a bit. Well, some of us have the common courtesy to pay rent. Oh! I shoot back. That's why I'm having Peter here move in. Buckle up. It's going to be a long ride. How far? About 3 hours. Yeah, I figured. 3 hours? I live rather far from here, just as I like it. But oh, so far away from you, though. That's okay. The gas money's worth seeing you every day. Wait a minute. Why the fluff would you drive 3 hours here every day? Oh, Veed, I love you, but you're not very bright. Hey, me no like the words you just used that call me not smart. Think about it. The moment we met in the park, those times I saw you at the diner, how you would always leave your window closed no matter how many times I've opened it at night, your perfectly sized closet. Yeah, at this point, we've known each other for what, 3 years, Peter? I know your games, I know your tricks. It's just routine at this point. Listen. Look, I'm sorry for how he treated you. No, who do you think you are? Sir? Who the fluff do you think you are? What right do you have to do this? It's in the title, darling. I'm your boyfriend. That's who I am. How dare you break the fourth wall? Only my little buddy's allowed to do that. Oh, look, a knife. Peter doesn't respond, simply reaching over to close the glove box back up. It's not important. I wouldn't dwell on it. He bluntly says, how about a little music to relax, Okay. Saying this, he reaches over and turns on the radio. A song just ends as a news report chimes in. Alicia here with more development from today's incident at Dad's Darn Diner. Earlier this morning, what was thought to be a break-in turned out to be a murder scene. A body had been located inside the kitchen area, locked away in a freezer. Police found multiple stab wounds. Hey, I was listening to that. Peter reached over and turns off the radio, keeping his focus on the road. Did you kill someone? And it wasn't any of my friends. This is the true path, Espoir. The abuse route is the true path where no one gets killed. Well, no one who matters. Answer me. Peter sighs. I told you not to dwell on it. Yeah, well, your face looks funny. I'm gonna tee you off on the green or, I don't know, golf. You did to me a violence.
Go ahead and sleep for the rest of the trip. We'll be home soon.
Okay, I'm starting to feel less and less bad about what's about to happen. Let's see what more abuse we can do in day 4. In the description of this video, I've included a walkthrough of all the choices that I've made up to this point, if you would like to follow this route yourself. What happened? I don't know this place. Where am I? The F? I'm tied up. Oh, good. You're awake. Listen here, you blue gumball son of a biscuit. I was starting to get worried. You've been out for a while. Yeah, because you knocked me out. Please don't hurt me. Yeah, because you knocked me out. I pull on the rope wrapped around my wrists. The tightness begins to cut off circulation to my hands. My fingers already felt cold and numb. Why'd you tie me so tight, Peter? You scared? Gosh darn, bashing my head into the glass, messing up my wig. Yeah, because you knocked me out and tied me up, might I add. My outburst startles him at first. I'm sorry. I knew you wouldn't take what just happened too well, so unfortunately, I had to take precautions for both of our safety. Yeah, for your safety. Well, I can't feel my darn hands, so hurry up and untie me. He's hesitant at first, weighing his options before reaching over and removing the rope from my wrists. Sorry. Sitting up on the bed, I scan the room that we're in, trying to make sense of my surroundings and get myself mentally grounded before I ground him mentally. With my shoe! It doesn't look like some dingy, dirty basement, and I wasn't lying on some damp and mold-infested mattress either. So, glass half full, I guess. It wasn't like he locked me up in some kind of sex dungeon. Where am I? You're home, dear. He gives me a dreamy look, seemingly endeared by my confusion. Home? This isn't my room at all. No, your new home. Peter leans away from me, allowing me to see more of the room. It's bigger, cozier, and you don't need to worry about that floozy of a roommate waking up in the middle of the night. And best of all, you don't need to pay anything to be here. No rent, no obnoxious old landlords, nothing. You can live here however you want. Can I still have the obnoxious old daddy landlords? And you expect me to be grateful? I was livid. His excitement at me, having me imprisoned like a mouse in his own handmade cage, was so maddening that it was all I could do to hold myself back from using my fists. His beaming smile faded into a frown. How about I get you a drink? That might help you calm down and settle into your new surroundings. What, like I'm a hamster in an enclosure? Peter makes his way out of the door, closing it behind him. Sitting up, I look around my tailor-made prison. I have to admit, the place does at least look better than my old room. Not enough for me to want to stay, though. Maybe I can find a way out of here. Peter rushes back in, clasping a glass of water. Here you go. A little hydration to help you calm down. He hands me the cool glass along with what seems to be painkillers, probably because he knocked me out earlier. I glare up at him, eyebrows raised. He chuckles softly. Don't worry. If I wanted you dead or unconscious, then you already would be. I reluctantly knock back the pills and take a big swig of water. Reaching up, I rub my head, feeling the soft cloth of a bandage wrapped around it. I never thought you'd ever hurt me. Peter slouches. His eyes fall to the ground in shame. I never wanted to, but things just got kind of ugly. I knew that nothing I could say would make you see, so I panicked and just... You did me a violence. How dare you? There is a moment of silence before he looks back up to me in regret. I'm not going to ask you to forgive me. We're beyond that, and I don't deserve it. I just want a chance to make things up to you. There's no way you could ever make up for attacking and kidnapping me, not to mention everything else you've done, and... I pause, a lump in my throat, trying to stall my words as I continue. And the horrible things you've done to me are nothing compared to what you did to them. Not in my eyes, darling. His forlorn expression changes instantly to an eerie gaze. Honestly, I'd do it 1,000,000 times over if I could. I've never been too fond of others. At all, you, my love, are the only exception. All right. But why? I keep trying to explain, but you just don't seem to understand. I'll try again, but please listen. Remember back in the park when I told you that I was your boyfriend? Yeah? How could I forget? Well, it's true. Since the very moment I saw you, I knew we were destined to be together. Whether you want to or not, there's no changing or going back from where we're both meant to be. You can call it a match made in heaven, or even proof that there's no God, given how twisted this whole thing is. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm always going to love you. Unfortunately for me. You can make me pull my teeth out, cut off my fingers, make me bite off my own tongue, anything, and I'll still love you until my dying day. Peter places his hand on my thigh. It's funny you should mention that first one. My skin crawls at his touch. I am yours, your slave, your happy ending, or your tragedy, your dream, or your nightmare. I belong to you, and I will do whatever it takes to remain as your possession. I'm flattered. Flattered. That's a little bit crazy, though. You're about at a 20. I'm gonna need you at about like a 5. Recoiling, I jet my leg away from his grasp. You stalked me, kidnapped me, and tied me to a bed in a room that you built to keep me in. It seems like I'm the one who's your possession. Listen to me. What you're doing is wrong, and quite annoying. I know. I'm fully aware that what I've done is terrible, unforgivable, but it has to be this way, for us. Now, Peter, a lot of this could be avoided with, a little bit of communication and a little less obsession. He can see that I'm still unimpressed. I've got a lot of making up to do. Maybe you'll understand in the next day, but the choice is yours. I just hope you make the right ones. Don't you continue breaking the fourth wall. Though visibly heartbroken, he recomposes himself and makes a sweeping gesture to the room. Either way, what's mine is yours. I've got a little work to do, so feel free to explore your new home. If you need anything, I'll be in my room. Peter leaves the room, keeping the door slightly cracked. Oh, thank you. Great. He's delusional. Oh, yeah. You didn't know that the first time he showed up and said, "Hey, I'm your boyfriend. I don't know you. I've never even met you before, but I'm your partner." Hopping out of bed, I take a look around the room. Dang it, there's no windows to break. Where are the knives? My clothes are even all here, the clean and the dirty, in the same pile. Oh my god, that's it. That's you're getting stabbed, Peter. Mixing my clean clothes with my dirty clothes. That's it. These are my books. He's literally moving me in. Where are my plushies? Can I grab that clothes hanger and whap him with it? I probably don't need the clothes hanger. Hey, he got me one of these. Would be funny if I placed this in front of the front door. I don't trust that mirror one bit. You see, now that I'm being more abusive and mean, I can tell that's a two-way mirror. Candles, perfect for not slamming into walls when the power goes out. Soundproof panels? Really? I'll take these down later. Hey, Pete's. Oh, you're already up and about. Well, yeah, I don't want to be lounging in my room all day. Yes, I do. I took a moment to look at the room he was occupying. This room would be a claustrophobic nightmare. Is this your room? Well, yes. I need a place to sleep and do my work. Did you always sleep here? It's so small. No, but I've slept in much tighter places. Your closet was a bit challenging for the first few weeks, but I managed. For weeks? Weeks? I didn't know he was in there for weeks. I thought it was a couple of days, maybe 2 or 3. My dude. My closet? He paused, realizing he just fed me information that I wasn't supposed to know. Yeah, I don't even think Espoir knew that. Weeks! Anyways, I need to get back to this script. It's not gonna edit itself. I wonder if there's some spoilers or Easter eggs that I could see if I zoomed into that screen. With a nervous chuckle, he sits back down at his desk and begins tinkering away at his keyboard and mouse, leaving me haunted with the thought of knowing he's been sleeping in my closet for God knows how long. Weeks! Weeks! Ah! Alright, now let's grab those pills. Maybe I'll successfully poison him this time. Sleep easy. Where are the knives? Why can't I click on the knives? Okay, there it is. Just cutlery. Nothing exciting. Knives! Snick. Oh, I see you've met Rat. I know there's an option to tell him to get rid of the snake. I do not want to hurt the baby. Rat? Yep, that's her name. I didn't know what to call her, so I called her Rat. You are what you eat, after all. I don't want to get rid of the baby, but I do want to see what happens if I tell him to. That is the most unoriginal thing I've ever heard. Yes, well, keep in mind that I don't value myself as a creative person. If pathetic, if there was a picture of the word pathetic in the dictionary, it would be this guy. You shouldn't even be valued at all. Oh! I won't argue that. Get rid of it? Can I name it? I don't want to get rid of it, but I want to see what he'll do. Well, I don't like snakes. Get rid of it. But not really. What? Did I stutter? I actually did stutter. No, you didn't. I did, but darling, I don't have anyone to take care of her. So? It's a snake. It can live in the wilderness. No, it can't. It's a sweet baby. And we must protect it. But autumn is around the corner. Hey, you said you would do anything for me, right? Right? Yes, darling. But don't actually get rid of the sweet little noodle baby. It's a hog-nosed snake. It's the cutest baby in the world. Then get rid of this thing, or I'll do it myself. I totally won't. I am bluffing. At least give me a couple of days to arrange a few things. Fine. Oh, I don't mean it, rat. I don't mean it. I don't mean it. At least he has power going into this. Can I see who died? Can I see what the news report says? Channel 3 News. And all the Karens were thankfully tarred and feathered by the staff. Ha! In other news, what? No! No! Peter! I'm gonna take that snake and I'm gonna throw it at you! You killed my landlord again! Ah! Police are not releasing the full name or identity of the suspect at this time. The owner of the diner states that the suspect is less likely to be the killer, being more suspicious of a stranger who lingers around the establishment. Ha! We will have more on this as the program continues. Gosh dang it! For fluff's sake, I'm a suspect? Peter, I'm mad? How am I gonna gloat to Espoir that the abuse route is the best route if you kill my landlord anyway? Ah! Don't fall asleep around me, Peter. Don't fall asleep around me. Darling, are you alright? I'm not alright! No, I'm not alright. I'm a suspect in that murder that you committed. Peter casually picks up the TV remote and turns the TV off before sitting himself down next to me. Well, yes, but you heard from your boss that he doubts it's you. I'm pretty sure you're in the clear. Clear my booty cheeks? What if they come snooping around here? You better fess up and take the plunge for what you did. Peter gives off a smile, scooting closer to me as he rests his arms along the back of the end of the sofa. Don't you cuddle me. Reaching over, he gently takes my chin into his hand. My love, my dearest, if they come here, they're not leaving. Slap his hand away. You would, wouldn't you? Get your hand off of me, sir! Pathetic! You honestly think you can take on the police? Darling, what happened at the diner wasn't my first murder. Yeah, it was probably your, 100th, because we played this so many times, and time keeps looping and resetting. And anyone trying to barge in here certainly will not be my last. Something about his tone took me by surprise. The lack of care, worry, or even desperation to put my mind at ease. This wasn't an empty promise or bullcrap ego or pride that was passing his lips. This is not hubris. He means it. What he was saying was a guarantee. I played it off by rolling my eyes, picking up the remote once more and turning on the TV, flipping through the channels in an effort to distract myself from him. Whatever. He doesn't say another word as he stands up from the sofa and walks out of the front room, probably getting back to whatever he's working on in his bedroom at the moment. Ugh. Ah! I just clicked on the fridge and he appeared. Darling, you hungry? I guess. I was just looking around to see if I'll have to resort to cannibalism. Only halfway joking. Goodness, there's no need for that. I have a garden outside after all in case food supplies get low. Would you like me to cook you something? Better make it good. I huffed, closing the fridge door and stepping away. Of course, only the best. Let me see. And we're probably too far away to order some spaghetti or something. Sitting myself at the table, I watched the man fumble over himself. I could tell that my watchful eyes were applying considerable weight on his shoulders. He was such a nervous wreck, tipping over seasonings, nearly burning himself multiple times, spilling ingredients. The occasional ouch would be hissed under his breath when chopping something. Aww. How on earth is this guy a murderer? After a while, the smell of something burning lingered in the air. Peter's standing in front of the stove looking absolutely defeated. You know what? It's endearing that you tried. Hey, how about I order something for you instead? What do you even have around here? I mean, there's a little bar a few miles away. And how far is a few miles? 84 miles from here? Seriously? Alright, we're resorting to cannibalism. It's not a problem. I'll figure something out. Peter, if you've been stalking me for weeks, maybe even months, you should know of my appetite. Forget it, I mumbled, getting up from my seat and walking over to him. The stove and surrounding area was a mess. Various spices scattered across the counter, bits of chopped food on the floor, and in the frying pan was 2 very burnt slices of toast, the cheese sloppily cut into thick chunks barely covering the bread. As I stood next to Peter, I could see that his fingers were covered in a bunch of cuts that he tried hiding from me. What the heck were you trying to make? A deluxe grilled cheese sandwich. That's endearing, but I'm still gonna slap you. Taking his hands into mine, I examined the cuts he inflicted upon himself, seeing the pearls of red breading from the lacerations. Thank God I stopped you. I don't want blood all over my food. He expresses his shame as he pulls his hands from me, using his own shirt to conceal and mop up the blood from his hands. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Whatever. Just go clean yourself up. Peter looks to the floor as though I'd just scolded him. No doubt he was hoping all of this would go a lot better. He must be embarrassed. Good. He hurriedly makes his way to the bathroom. While he takes care of that, I might as well keep looking around. He's wrapped around my finger. Why couldn't he be my loyal dog back home instead of whisking me away to this place? Yeah, Peter. I have to get out of this house and away from that delusional maniac before I go as crazy as him, and probably eat him. Maybe I should try to turn up some charm to get him to unlock the doors, break him down and then build him back up, as they say. Quiet, you. I mentally paced back and forth as I planned my next move, but I pause when I get the sensation that I'm overthinking it. Could the answer be as easy as simply asking him to unlock the door so I can get some fresh air? Or maybe I want to go for a walk. He's not that gullible, is he? You know, sometimes he is and sometimes he's not. Looking over towards his bedroom door, I resolve to answer my own question and walk to the door. Before I knock, I notice that my heartbeat is thundering in my ears. Am I nervous? That's weird. I remind myself that he's already killed people, and God knows what he'll do to me if he is ticked off. Well, we know that. He's gonna take my frickin' gam. But then I remembered how much I'd been kicking him, and how he keeps limping back like a stupid, gullible puppy. I've got this. I just need to throw him a bone, and he'll worship me. I took a deep breath and gave a firm knock on the door. The typing on the other end stopped, and I put on a casual face as the door cracked open and his big blue eyes peer at me. What is it? He didn't even call me darling. My mind has a brief hiccup, but no matter. Now I just have to pivot and give him the opportunity to be my hero. I leaned more towards the open part of the door to get a better view of Peter. A wry smirk grows from the corner of my mouth. Well, listen, I know that I'm being difficult right now. It's just that this is a lot for me to take in, and I just wanted to say that I'm, He tilts his eyebrow, waiting for an apology that never comes. How about maybe you and I go for a walk or something? You know, to have a look around our new home. Some fresh air might do us some good. He doesn't respond at first, keeping quiet as his contemplating eyes drift away. But at least he's considering it. I need to say something to nudge him in the right direction. You know, I know that you're trying hard to make me happy, and I want to at least make it up to you and go on a walk. Hand in hand, even. He returned a familiar gaze back to me, and opened the door a bit. The flare of optimism that melted the cool expression seemed to catch wildfire in my own heart, though not for the same reasons. You want to spend time with me? Of course, silly. I mean, if you're gonna be my boyfriend, we might as well at least make an honest attempt at it, right? We probably could have did that if you did kill my sexy landlord. The door opened a little wider as he stepped out, but as he poked his head into the hallway, his smile dropped and he glanced back at his desk. Veed, as much as I would love to go on a walk, Meld. I think maybe it's probably best to just have an early night and maybe try it again fresh in the morning. What? Peter stammers a bit as he sees my mask begin to slip. I mean, I'm not too keen on going out right now. You still seem really upset to me. My innocent demeanor was fading faster than my patience with this lanky freak. I nearly pop a knuckle squeezing my balled fist behind my back as I imagined tearing the door handle from him and strangling him. And before I could stop myself, I'm already reading him like a riot act. Well, excuse me for being such a pain in your booty cheeks. Next time, I'll be the one who tears you away from your life to lock you up in a dump in the middle of nowhere. Now, Espoir did come across a game where the roles were reversed. I need a reminder to check up on that game. He didn't say anything back to me. Instead, his stare grew distant as he silently began to close the door on me. Don't you do that, Peter. How dare you? My vision turning red and seething with rage, I retched at the doorknob. Oh, don't you dare! I barked, wedging my shoe into the doorframe to keep it from closing. You brought me here. Did you bring me here? Did you take me away from my sexy landlord, and now you think you're just gonna silently close the door on me? I don't think so. Not right now. We're taking a walk, so get your coat on! We are not done here. You pulled off a lot of crap, and I'm tired of having it. Get your booty cheeks out there and unlock the front door now. I want out. I want to have a blissful, peaceful walk under the moonlight. But instead of submitting to me like the skinny coward he was, he silently refused to let the door budge in either direction. Leaning closer to the gap, his words were as cold as ice. We'll see what happens tomorrow. With how you've been today, I doubt being outside will help your disposition. I'm baffled. It's not normal for him to stand off against me like that. The more I think about this, the more I can feel my blood boil. Listen, I get pretty powerful when I'm mad. You don't want to see me when I'm mad. So I was a phallic object to him today. So what? This bastard pulled off so much crap while thinking I would just be all lovey-dovey and shower him with love and adoration? He's a disillusioned creep, but I know that in his world the sun rises and falls for me, and this spat isn't going to change that, not one bit. Let me out, now, or I'll never love you. There's a pause as my words cut him to his core. I knew that submissive, lovesick psycho was still rattling around in that massive head of his. And while he was mulling it over, I pulled my foot from the doorframe and threw my whole shoulder against the door. Wham! Or where the door had been. Faltering forward and trying to catch myself on anything I could reach, I feel the tip of Peter's foot catch my leading foot. And all I could see is the edge of Peter's desk screaming towards my... Oh, did I just clunk myself? Ouch! What? Wait, did he trip me? What happened? Did you trip me, Peter? I feel colder than before. Where are we now? With a profound sense of déjà vu, my eyes fight to make out the new room that I find myself in. Peter? If I don't have both of my glorious, long, delicious gams still attached to my body, I'm going to be quite perturbed. It's darker and more Spartan than the room that Peter had set me up in, and none of my possessions had been migrated here. I glance down towards my feet and come to the dire realization that I'm completely naked. What? 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 Don't kill him yet. Don't kill him yet. I fight against the cold metal handcuffs that clasp around my wrists and ankles, and as I try to shout, I feel the spit-soaked wad of cloth that gags my cries. Really? You chained me to the radiator? Take two, darling. Ew, oh dear. Espoir hasn't seen this route before. I hear his voice, but he's not looming over me like before. Instead, a lean shadow stands in the corner of the room. The blue slits of his eyes seem to glow in the darkness. You took a pretty nasty tumble, my love. I was so lost in thought that I couldn't stop you before your head took a chunk out of my desktop. I mumble unintelligible curses under the rags that are tied around my mouth. But honestly, you really got me thinking when you said that you would never love me. I mean, a relationship should be all about commitment, wouldn't you agree? Equal parties, both taking the plunge. My eyes followed as his silhouette drifts a bit to the right. You see, I did say that I was utterly and completely devoted to you. I'm yours, remember? I try to call him a psycho, but I can't form the words. Don't bother, my love. Words just seem to unnecessarily complicate simple things, and you have been very vocal lately. I guess what I really want to know is... The shadow holds an object into view, and from the way that the metal reflects the dim light, I can tell that it's a knife.
Ooh, is that for me? I love knives.
It's not for me, is it? Do you love me? I like you, Peter. I like you. I kick and scream, but I can't tear my eyes from the blade that he holds in his hand. As the handcuffs refuse to relent, I resort to ordering him to release me, but my words are no more coherent to him than if I were a puppy. Bark, 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 bark. A puppy that had been kicked far too many times. Like I said, it's a simple question, and it deserves a simple answer, right? Oh, you don't need to bury it under that gruff, dominating facade or muddy it with coy deflections and demands. It gets so confusing. Instead, a simple gesture of the head will do. A nod for yes, a shake for no. Simple, right? Let's try it out. Do you understand? He plays with the knife a little as he awaits my answer with eager anticipation. What can I do? Nothing I've done so far will work now. I thought doing the abuse route would save my sexy, sexy landlord. All I can hope to do is to comply and hope that he'll release me long enough to get that knife. I want that knife. I nod my head once in confirmation. Peter looks puzzled, and I can see his eyes narrow in on me. No, this isn't a snap judgment. I'd really like it if you'd take a moment to really think about the question. Think about everything we've been through together, and then answer honestly and truthfully. This sick freak is toying with me now. I am the one who is supposed to be toying. I suppress my urge to murder him with his own knife and close my eyes for a second, pretending to mull it over. Faking a deep and resolute sigh, I open my eyes. Making full contact with the blue slits across the room, I gently, willfully, knowingly nod my head. The eyes beam brighter, but not as illuminating as his ecstatic, toothy smile. You mean it? He begins to laugh to himself in a fit of hysterical joy. Oh, I knew it. I knew you loved me. You just wanted me to prove it to you. I had to earn your devotion, and I've succeeded. Ha ha! Callooh, Calais, no work today. Oh, that's where I got that from.
Callooh, Calais, no work today.
I was wondering why she would say Callooh, Calais, no work today. She must have heard that in a TikTok or something. Ah! He steps out of the shadows, and my eyes grow wide in terror. Oh, wait, did you use that knife on yourself? Loser. He's shirtless, and across his pale torso, shoulder and arms, I see dozens of crude cuts where he'd carved hearts and my initials into his own blood-stained flesh. The tip of the blade in his hand is dripping with his own blood, and the red rains from his elbows and fingertips onto the floor, while the crimson streams terminate at his belt and pants. Ew. Sir, I'm gonna get you a whole gallon of iodine. Just pour it all over you. Peter's eyes fix on mine as they chart the weeping slits like directions on a treasure map of a white and scarlet island. Do you see? Do you finally see how devoted I am to you? Does it fill you with inspiration? After all, a relationship should be all about commitment, wouldn't you agree? Equal parties, both taking the plunge. You want me to carve Peter into my flesh? 'Cause let me stop you right there. I'm not doing that. And now, darling, it's your turn. I see the blade of the knife glimmer in the faint light as its tip drifts daintily over my heart, leaving behind a shallow trail of swelling red droplets. Oh yeah, I forgot I'm nude. I'm completely and utterly nude.
I'm completely and utterly nude.
We're all nude here.
I still despise this name, Peter. Just the thought of carving each vile letter into your soft, loving skin makes me sick. I shake my head in protest, but I try to keep from bucking from underneath the knife's edge for fear of burying it inside of myself. Peter's hand clasps my chest to hold me in place. So, I'll do one for you better. A lovely heart to match the ones I have on me. I'll just go deep enough to leave a scar, my love. Hold still and focus on our feelings towards each other, and it'll be over before you know it. Ah! Boy, if I had a nickel for every time a dude carved a heart into my flesh, I'd have 2 nickels. Which isn't a lot, but I'm surprised it hasn't happened more times. You know, I think we can be more abusive. I think I had the right idea of kind of being a little bit nicer and leading him on so that he'll do whatever I ask of him. Also, Espoir told me that there were saves now in this game, otherwise I would not have agreed to this. Why is there no save? Why do I have to go all the way back to the beginning? Ah! What happened? Did I sleep that deeply? I better not be tied up or I'm reporting you to Area 51. I'm calling the men in black. I don't know this place. Where am I? The F? I'm tied up? Will Smith? Listen, you buttermilk biscuit. Untie me. Now. Peter jumps back in surprise, then stares at me wide-eyed for a moment before furiously fiddling with the knots trying to free me. I'm sorry, darling. You were tossing and turning in your sleep, and I just thought I wasn't going to do anything. Promise. He finally unbinds me, tossing the ropes to the floor. I sit up and scan my surroundings, trying to get my bearings. He didn't tie it so tight that my circulation was getting cut off. It doesn't look like some dirty basement, and I wasn't on some kind of infested mattress either. So, glass half full, at least he didn't lock me in some kind of sex dungeon, or take off all my clothes and chain me to the radiator and carve a heart in my body. Where am I? Your home. Peter purrs with satisfaction. Home? This isn't my room at all. No, your new home. It's bigger, cozier, and you don't need to worry about that loud floozy of a roommate waking up in the middle of the night. And best of all, you don't need to pay anything to be here. No rent, no obnoxious old landlords, nothing. You can live however you want here. Again, I want the obnoxious old sexy landlord. And you expect me to be grateful, dog, doggo, pupperino? He frowns, clearly hurt at my insult. Aw. Figured you'd like being called dog more than, Peter. How about I get you a drink? That might help you calm down and settle into your new surroundings. Here you are, love. A little hydration to help you feel more calm. I snatched the cool glass from him and downed the whole thing, surprised at just how thirsty I actually was. As I placed the glass down, the memory of last night came slowly into my mind. So, you actually killed someone for me? Yes, darling, he replies, showing no guilt or remorse. In fact, there was almost a look of satisfaction on his face as he's reminded of what he did. And you're not bothered at all? Honestly, I'd do it 1,000,000 times again if I could. I was never fond of others at all. You, however, are the only exception. And you're willing to go that far just for me? He slowly steps forward, looking right into my eyes. My darling, I am your territory, your slave, your happy ending or your tragedy, your dream or your nightmare. I belong to you. I will achieve whatever it takes to remain as your possession. Put that tongue away. There'll be none of that here. A feeling that I wasn't sure how to describe comes over me. I never expected to feel nothing in a situation like this. The complete numbness, despite the gravity of it all, was surprising, to say the least. Peter could tell that I was wrestling with my thoughts. He stepped back slightly, giving me some room. I know this is all so much to take in. I'll let you have some time to yourself. Make yourself at home. I've got some work to do, but if you would like to explore your new home, you're more than welcome to. I'll be in my room if you need anything. In other news, the recent killing of John D.O. is still under investigation. Police suspect an employee of the diner he was found in, who was his server on the day of his murder, and vanished shortly after the body was found. Police are not releasing the full name or identity of the suspect at this time. The owner of the diner states that the suspect is less likely to be the killer, being more suspicious of a stranger who lingers around the establishment. We will have more on this as the program continues. Well, looks like it was a poor John D.O. F's in the chat for John D.O. For fluff's sake, I'm a suspect? Darling, are you all right? No, I'm not all right. I'm a suspect in the murder that you committed. Peter casually picks up the TV remote and turns the TV off before sitting himself down next to me. Well, yes, but you heard from your boss that he doubts it's you. I'm pretty sure you're in the clear. Clear my booty cheeks. What if they come snooping around here? You better fess up and take the plunge for what you did. Peter gives off a smile, scooting closer to me as he rests his arm around the back end of the sofa. Reaching over, he gently takes my chin into his hand. My love, my dearest, if they come here, they're not leaving. You would, wouldn't you? You would take on a whole police force somehow. I don't think your plot armor is that strong, Peter. You would, wouldn't you? I mean, how could you take on armed law enforcement? He chuckles a little as his hand caresses up from my chin to my cheek, leaning in close as he spoke. Darling, what happened at the diner wasn't my first murder, and anyone trying to barge in here certainly will not be my last. Something about his tone took me by surprise. The lack of care, worry, or even desperation to put my mind at ease. This wasn't an empty promise or bullcrap ego or pride that was passing his lips. What he was saying was a guarantee. I wonder if we'll ever be able to test that. I felt a cold chill all over my body as he kisses my brow and stands up from the sofa. No, let's not worry about all that. If you need me, I'll be in my room. I've still got some scripting I need to finish before submitting it to my editor. He is very punctual. He takes his leave from the front room, heading back to his enclosed workspace. Dang it, he's willing to take on the law for me. Interesting. How can I use this to my advantage? No harm shall befall the baby.
Oh, this is a cute little baby with the poop little doodle.
It totally isn't cute. I don't think that's the cutest little baby. He's even got little ripples on his little back. Oh. Can I name it? What would we name it? Can we name it? What would we name the snaky? We will call it Papyrus. Can I name the snaky? You want to name Rat? Why not? Give it a better name at least. Like you did me. What? Did your parents name you Dog or something? I wouldn't put it past them. Peter is an adorable name. Why does he hate his name so much? So, what do you want to name her? Papyrus. What about Papyrus? I'm not here to nitpick whatever name you give her. She's yours just as much as she's mine. I'm going to make Papyrus like me more than she likes you. Does that mean I can also have a pet of my own? I don't see why not. Good, because I have a list since the landlord didn't allow pets in the apartment. Well, I'm not your landlord. You technically are. More like a bottom biscuit. I mean, if you'd like. Not now. We're not doing this bonding right now. Oh, hey, darling. He startles me at first, though I'm not sure why I would be surprised to have this man pop up out of nowhere. He just can't seem to leave me alone. Ugh. Still, best to humor him and pretend like he caught me off guard. Oh, hey, what's up? Well, you seem kind of cooped up and restless, so I've been thinking maybe you could use some fresh air. I mean, with the lack of windows, I can imagine you're getting a little stuffy in here. Oh my god. Wait, oh really? Oh really? I don't get knocked out on the desk? He's actually letting me outside? I guess I don't come off as a potential escapist in his eyes. Yeah, by not being incredibly mean, I have lulled him into a false sense of security. Ha ha ha! Yeah, I was actually wondering how things look outside of here. I kind of want to see that garden. What your tomatoes look like? Well, you're about to find out. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a very worn-looking key, likely came with the house when it was first built. Peter unlocks the door, gently swinging it open, and stepping to the side, reaching out his arm towards the outdoors. Alrighty, go ahead and look around. Just don't go too far. It's easy to get lost in these woods if you don't know the area. Yeah, and are you gonna tell me about the bear traps? 'Cause Espoir told me about the bear traps. There's bear traps! He returns to his bedroom, giving me a wink as he shuts the door. Oh wait, he's not coming with me? Really? Alright. Stepping out, I looked out over the thick, dense forest beyond the porch. My god, are we out in the middle of nowhere? I didn't take Peter for a nature kind of person. I take a few steps forward. I turn my back towards the house. From the outside, it looks pretty cozy. You'd never guess that the resident was such a creep. Makes me wonder what other secrets this place has. Explore a little more? Make a run for it? Well, we know what's gonna happen there, so let's explore a little bit more. My curiosity's too strong to simply idle around. I want to check this place out a little more thoroughly. Ugh. You don't think you should clean that up, Peter? I wonder if that license plate, means something. Well, I remember this junk on wheels. The house looks a lot less inviting with this scrap heap parked outside. I take a closer look at the staining on and around the van. Wait, is that rust or... Rust! That's a good one. This is Peter we're talking about here. Thank you, inner me. Against all of my better instincts, I walk over to the back of the van. reaching my hand out to open the doors. Jeez, nothing. Looks like whatever was in here has already been dragged out. Oh, the trail continues into the backyard. Was that always there? I need to know what he had back there, or who is back there. Is it John D? The trail ends at the door to a dingy-looking shed at the back of the house. This is all new territory! I shudder to think of what kinds of horrors await me on the other side of the door, but I can't bring myself to turn back. I need to keep going. Of course, as if this place couldn't get any more eerie. Well, I've made it this far. Let's check out this little shack of horrors. If I go down these stairs, and there's a freezer full of a dude, I'll be quite upset. The steps downward creak underneath mold-rotted wood, threatening to collapse at any moment. Peter, ay. Ooh. Oh boy, this freak is just full of surprises. Wait, do we gotta click on that. I don't want to click on that. Let's click on that. Something is leaking out of the bag and onto the floor. This is obviously what was in the back of Peter's van. Or maybe it's a deer, you know? Maybe it's some venison, because he lives out in the forest. Maybe it's just some, food for later. With hesitant fingers, I reach over and pull back the black plastic. What? Oh, no! No! Because now I can't gloat to Espoir and say that the abusive route makes everybody live. How can I gloat to her to turn her to the dark side if he kills one of my friends anyway? But why TK? I don't like them. In my shock, I scream. The mutilated, gory sight repels me away from the workbench. Shaken, I take a deep breath. Why did you kill TK? John D is the one who got killed. Calm yourself, Veed. It's fine. You're okay. No, I'm lying to myself. I'm livid. I did it for you. Peter! Why? Explain yourself. I turn around and find a rather sheepish Peter, who nearly flinches when I notice him. For me? Did I fluffing ask for this? But don't call me darling. Call me darling one more time and I'm cutting out your tongue. He gets the hint that I'm not in the mood to put up with any lovey-dovey talk. I firmly point at the blood-soaked workbench as I glare at Peter, trying to not look at TK's mutilated remains. Why? You kidnapped me and brought me to the middle of nowhere. How could they have possibly been a threat? I doubt they even liked me that much in the first place. Why did you do this? Peter didn't respond at first, gazing at the floor as though searching for the right words. He'd better. I'm seconds away from beating him to death myself. I didn't want to run the risk of anyone finding you. We're out in the wilderness. No one's gonna be able to find this place. Are you sure about that? Slightly. He spoke in a strangely mild voice, his expression going from pathetic to somewhat ominous. I didn't want to argue. He's too delusional to be reasoned with. I don't need a gosh darn hitman. You're supposed to be a doormat. And I still am. Why don't you have a little look around here? You might see just how devoted I am to you. As if he hasn't shown me enough horrific crap already. Alright, what's this book? What's this? Lit. Oh, this is cute. This is nice. What's it? What? Another one? How many does this guy need? Wait, hold on. A lot of romance novels, some mystery books, and the rest are books about medicine and human biology. Unsettling. Is that a computer? What's that there? This is nice. This is a nice room. It's very rough. I'm glad he doesn't have this in the house. Is there another room? Oh. This is nice. What the heck? There's a whole nother house in here. Ooh. I turn the knob and find myself in a plain, drab bedroom. What the heck? What room is this? Why is there some lotion and candles there? Well, it would be unremarkable if it wasn't for a madman's collage posted all over the wall in front of me. Holy crap. Both intimate and pedestrian photos of me were everywhere. Where I work, where I shop, who I talk to, all on these walls. I knew Peter was crazy, but gosh darn. Using physical media? Like, dude, come on, get a flash drive. What's the mirror for? It's very worn down, old even. How long has he been sleeping on this thing? I take a seat on the bed, overwhelmed by the images of myself plastered all over the walls. Listen here, you little goober. So, what do you think? I think you need help. No, I don't think. I know. This is a definite fact. You need help, my good boy. I tried not to retch at the gross display of unhealthy worship. I wasn't joking when I said that I would do anything for you. You're the very meaning of my existence. You're the reason I even get up in the morning. Life without you isn't life at all. I tried so many times to fill this gaping void in my pathetic life with something else. Anything else, but nothing ever fulfilled me. You could try playing indie visual novels. You say you love me, right? Of course. Liar. What? I'm not lying. I can prove it to you. Ask me anything, and I'll do it. Anything? Anything. Anything? Anything. Anything. Anything.
Anything.
I'll get you, and I'll look like a bloody accident.
The gears in my head begin to turn. So many possibilities unfolded before me, though I doubt asking to be set free would do anything. The pliers in your little chopping room. Go get them. Peter doesn't hesitate as he hurries out of the room and just as quickly makes his way back. Here they are. No, those are for you. Peter gave me a puzzled expression as he glanced between himself and the pliers in his hands. Okay, what do you want me to do with them? Prove your love to me. Peter stood there dumbly for a moment as the grim realization settles in. Anything for you, my love. He opens his mouth wide. What was he... Oh God, is he really gonna... Taking the pliers, he latched them onto one of his jagged teeth, then... More? Peter speaks in such a weak tone. His hands tremble, and tears form in his eyes as he looks to me for approval. More? That's enough? You know what? I thought nobody was gonna get killed. More. I thought nobody was going to get killed. I was going to gloat to Espoir, saying that, oh, nobody died in my route, and then here you go. You killed Don, and you killed TK anyway. So no. There was little hesitation as the pathetic worm braced himself. Peter brings the pliers back to his mouth, placing the tool around another tooth. Ugh! The overwhelming pain nearly made him drop to the floor. He barely manages to keep his footing as he places the discarded tooth into his hand. I want to see this bastard hurt himself more, maybe even bleed out. But I... My rage boils inside of me, and I snarl at him. Shut the fluff up! You stalked me, kidnapped me, and killed 2 people, making you a toothless... C-word is fair enough for me. Besides, you said it yourself. You're my property, and I want my property bleeding like the fluffing animal he is. I'm legit mad right now. I thought all of my doormats were gonna be safe, but no. You kill TK and put their poor little body on a slab. Yes, you're right. I know I'm right. Again. Peter readies himself, leaning up against the chest of drawers, as though it would somehow keep him up straight. He clasps the pliers onto another tooth and tries to steady his breathing as blood pools and drips from his mouth. Tears stream down his bloodied face. It was a pathetic sight, one that he deserved to be. His steady breathing soon escalates into panic as he pulls another tooth out. The intense, progressive pain between each self-inflicting extraction becomes too much, and he collapses onto the floor, crying. So fitting. I'm going to bed. I'll figure out what else to do with you in the morning. He tries to speak, coughing up the blood that he accidentally breathed in. I scoff as I walk past him, giving the poor excuse of a man a kick as I make my way out of this disgusting bedroom of his. I mean, that's probably what you should do to a murder-stalking psycho who has kidnapped you. I flop onto my bed, replaying today's events. I don't feel a hint of remorse or regret. This sick bastard had it coming. I close my eyes, darkly dreaming of Peter's future suffering at my hands. Okay. I don't feel great about that. That was mean. What's this book? Looks like a journal. My therapist suggests that I keep a journal and write in it whenever anxiety attacks come along. Writing does help me feel grounded, putting my thoughts on paper. Not sure how this will help with trembling hands, but I guess that's where breathing exercises come in. This entry seems to be from a couple of days ago. Okay, the shakes are kicking in, all because we're going to be meeting face to face for the first time. Deep breaths, in and out. Maybe make myself some tea after this. Tea sounds lovely. If things don't work out, it's not the end of the world. I can just move on. At least, I hope I can. I don't think you can. There's a great deal of pages that were pulled out. Everything else is blank. Just cut up pieces of wood, wads of old wallpaper, rusted pipes. Guess he was renovating this place too. All right. That's enough. I yank the pliers away from Peter. For fluff's sake, I meant for you to bash your hand or something less extreme. Are you all right? Peter is ashamed at first, looking down at his tooth, and then at me as he tries to wipe the blood away. I'm sorry. You told me to prove that I love you. Yeah, but not maim yourself. Are you all right? He stands there in a rather awkward pose, not knowing what to do with himself or the tooth in his hand. Peter does his best to make it appear that he isn't in agony, faking a smile that causes more blood to seep out from the corner of his lips. I'm fine, love. It wasn't that bad. I roll my eyes, reaching over and grabbing him by the wrist. Don't fluffing lie to me. Now grab those napkins and lie down. He obeys, picking up the box and resting himself on the bed that barely fits his tall body. Grabbing some wads of tissues, I did what I could to stop the bleeding. You're pathetic. I know. Peter rubs his cheek a little. I give the room another scan, taking in the unhealthy, obsessive sight around me. You really love me, don't you? What was your first clue? You don't have jokes now, you're bleeding. He manages to joke through the pain, the stifled chuckle lasting only briefly. I sigh, but it's hard to suppress the smirk that crept from the corner of my mouth. You're such an idiot. I can see him try to smile while nursing his mouth. At least, I'm your idiot. No, I mean you're an idiot for all the trouble you've been getting me into, and don't you dare say that you did it all for me. I wouldn't dream of it. What do you mean? I did it for me too. For the both of us, actually. What, the tooth thing or the murders? 'cause I'm kinda mad about both. Don't act like you've done me any favors. I never wanted anybody dead. Yeah, I wanted to gloat to Espoir, but I still got people killed. No, you just used people, just like I let you use me. Yeah, but that's not the same as murdering someone. You just see people like they're assets and liabilities. I saw them as obstacles. For the both of us, they're just objects. I just dealt with them accordingly. You take things too far. Too far for whom? A fox eating a rabbit is too far for the rabbit. For the fox, it's just dinner. Yeah, but the rabbit doesn't have, bills to pay. He leaned in closer, the blood dribbling from the corners of his mouth, his eyes narrowing into snake-like slits. What are you? Are you sure we're not all aliens? Is this even Earth? If you could be the fox, would you? I wouldn't. I totally would. What do you mean I wouldn't? Me? Look how I'm dressed. I totally would. I still wouldn't. I huff, shaking my head. I like testing people and pushing their boundaries. I get a kick out of their reactions, and I like drumming up chaos, but destroying entire lives? There's no way. It's too far. Peter falls silent and dabs his mouth before spitting on the floor, pulling his eyes from the ground long enough to catch quick glances of me from the corners of his eyes. He reaches a hand out to clasp mine. I'm sorry I've upset you, love. Not wanting to be near him, I pull my hand away, silently refusing his apology. I'm tired. Oh, okay. You want me to tuck you in? No, I want you to go to a hospital. I want you to heal up and not treat me like a baby. I stand over the bloody mess on the floor with my arms crossed over my chest. I'm heading back to the house. Why don't you stay in your little creep shrine for the night? You mean my happy place? That just made me throw up a little in my mouth. Sorry. You stay here and think about what you've done. Ponder the orb that is your head. I flop onto my bed, reflecting on the day, reflecting on the week, and the weeks and weeks that he's apparently been in my closet. He's so desperate for my affection, so willing to not only hurt others, but himself, pulling his own teeth out. The thought makes my own mouth hurt. This is so fluffed up. I bet that he'd use a toaster as a bath toy if I asked him to. He's the kind of dumb animal that you'd need to keep tied to a tree with a cone around its neck, and the shorter the chain, the better. I stare at the wall for a bit, wondering if there's anything I can make him do that may actually benefit the both of us. Get more therapy? Well, that was the abuse route of day 4 of Your Boyfriend. Oh boy, I can be quite the monster to him. But as of right now, we're not allowed to show anything from day 5. It's really not finished. But I am the demon who comes when their name is called, and if Espoir needs my help again, I will be there to choose all the most negative and abusive routes in whatever game she's playing. So be sure to like this video and subscribe to Espoir's channel, so that you can watch me abuse more fictional characters, and to help us grow to 100,000 subscribers. But until then, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Take care of yourself, have a great night, and remember, there is always hope. Except when there isn't.